the right side, there is a way to
Yeah, it's
boost the
already
mic.
cranked.
Okay, okay, I can still hear
Yeah,
you.
it's already
So it's
cranked.
fine. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, you're right though. It does seem a little bit lower. What if I turn this up like this? Does that help?
Let's see.
Okay, I'm gonna try to boost it.
In the meantime, what do you think about that topic about like stop hiring random people?
Love it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's a great one. Okay, I won't let me it won't let me boost it on this side. In the end, in the post production, we'll be able to boost it. But is there any way you can crank your volume? Does that help?
No, I hear you. It's fine. Just
Okay.
need to
All right.
focus.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, what exactly do you mean by? So first, we started off with Ariel. What should everyone stop doing?
You should stop hiring random people on Upwork, on Fiverr for $5 an hour when you have a serious project.
What exactly do you mean by stop hiring people on these other these
Well,
hiring platforms like Upwork, whatever?
well, you maybe are VP of marketing of a company, maybe you own the company, maybe you are an agency, and you should close like this project where you need things to happen fast because your client expects you to work fast, and you go to Upwork and you find someone uh, who you don't know how good it is besides the reviews, and you expect that person to work fast and good for you. Plus, you're sharing your client's password to this random guy in Bangladesh. Is that what we're doing? Do we really want to do that? Right? So no.
That's good, man. Can you give me an example of a time that you've recently heard about this or seen this?
Of course. So and let's be fair. I mean, there are a lot of people in Upwork. I mean, on Fiverr that are like very good, but that's not the problem. Fiverr and Upwork are fantastic tools for certain projects, right? And those projects are when you are not managing sensitive data, when nobody's in a rush, and if it goes bad, it's not a problem, right? So all these things need to happen, right? We had like this agency who hired us. This was last year to do some HubSpot and Salesforce integration, right? So they hired us, and they hired someone through Upwork to do the Salesforce part. And yeah, this guy was great. This guy, I mean, I talked to him. He was like very knowledgeable. The thing is, he was freelancing, right? And he was probably full of work. So number one, of course, everyone missed deadlines because he was busy. He had like some kind of other work. So we start missing deadlines. And number two, he disappeared. Who knows why? And he had access to the client account. The moment that they wanted to remove the access, well, it took longer than it should, right? And there was kind of like a dispute between that agency and that freelancer that end up uh, being in something pretty wrong
What
from
happened?
the well. So basically, he downloaded all the users from the HubSpot CRM of this client, right? Because he had the passwords, right? And then he created like a new user under a different email, so he could still have access, right? Since they were like not in an agreement in how much he was going to be paid or something like that. And I'm just repeating what like this agency owner told me. He was kind of like kidnapped by this person who we didn't know if he had access or not. Well, but the first error there was like trusting someone randomly on Upwork. And number two, why will you share your client's password to this guy, right? So I think things got sorted after that. I think hear more about this, but I guess there is a
That's
better way to
great.
do this, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good story. We'll dive into that even more. What should they do instead?
Well, of course, don't rush. to hire anyone, right? And sometimes, like, pay cheap, pay twice. That's very true. Of course, review like the testimonials and like the history of this person, but of course, if you can hire in person, do it. But if you can't, there are like better ways with contracts, right? For example, companies like Deal.com offer contractor templates, like a contract for your contractor. And then there are like some tools that will allow you to use or to share like the password of your client securely. I mean, you can use Keeper Security, you can use One Password to actually share the access without actually revealing the password. So you can actually take some precautions before just giving away everything and depending on the goodwill of someone else.
And for helping people that haven't understand, well, yeah, that's great. I mean, we can dive into that more. I want to like, that's perfect. How would you define the difference of hiring random people off of a platform versus it sounds like this more vetted, secure approach? What does that even? How would you define that?
Well, um, you can. I mean, when you go to this platform like Upwork on Fiverr, I mean, there is some kind of betting, and the betting in this case relies on the reviews of other users, right? Which, okay, fine, it's better than nothing, right? But when you hire in house, well, there is actually HR. There is a background check, right? You ask for references. I mean, all these things are missing here when you hire someone in the marketplace, right? And I understand that sometimes like hiring in house is like way too much, right? But there is some in between of that, right? There are like tools like Verif.com to have some background checks. You can hire a recruiter. The recruiter should do like all the work of like checking this person, taking a look to his LinkedIn, maybe reaching out for references, and yeah, maybe it will take you a few more days to launch your project. Yeah, maybe, and maybe it will be more expensive than this random guy in Bangladesh. Yeah, maybe, but it will save you a lot of problems because these things never fail until they do. And when they do, that's a problem. So yes, hire a recruiter, go through platforms like TopTal maybe that have like a better betting uh, process, but never try to just like hire someone randomly on Upwork for a very serious project.
That makes sense. Can you tilt your camera down just a little bit?
Of course,
Yeah, perfect. There we go. Uh,
much better.
what do you think everyone should do, or what? Why? First off, why do you think everyone does it this way? Why do they just go and throw
It's
up a listing? I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. When I need something, I have a tendency to just kind of throw it out there, and I'll try to outline it a little bit, but then I know I'm going to probably.
so, and let's be fair. I mean, I started on Fiverr on Upwork. These platforms are great. It's just like don't use it for everything, right?
Sure.
And the reason why people use it and we use it as well, it's because when you need something fast, cheap, and dirty, I mean, it's perfect, right? I mean, I just need someone to do A, B, or C, right? And I need it fast, and I need it now, right? Sure, for those kind of things, it works perfectly, right? Um,
Like quick tasks, like a design
quick task,
thing, or
yeah, where
quickly
you
we
really
need to
know
format
everything.
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, and you don't need it for tomorrow. I mean, you need someone. I mean, you need to talk to someone now, but there is not like a hard deadline, right?
But why do
If there is,
people still go to it for like I hired two I hired two AE or executive assistants, EAs, off of Upwork, and they both failed. Like it was both a failed project. So why do
why do
people
they
like
fail?
me? Yeah, why do you for more like long term, like true help? Like why do they go to these platforms? Why do they still do
Well,
this?
the probably the reason why they fail in your case is because you were not their only client and nobody were managing them, right? So maybe they were like the best AE in the world. Well, but maybe they're working for five, six different people, right? Maybe they have some situation upon. At the end of the day, it's people, right? And people have like other issues beside just working for someone, right? And that's fine. But nobody was managing them. So yeah, sure. Maybe the problem here is hiring someone for 10, 20 an hour, right? It's tempting, right? And I get that. That's part of the problem, right? It's like it's cheap. And when something is cheap, it's like, sure, why would I want to pay double or triple than that, right? Um, so I guess that's the main issue. I mean, we want to jump over all these steps of like doing the background check and verifications and maybe pay more. And we just want someone and we cross our fingers and we say, hopefully this one is good, right?
Yeah.
But even if it's good, that person has probably other things on their table.
Why should people do what you're suggesting? And ultimately, what are you suggesting? You're saying don't use these platforms, but and you've kind of outlined it a little bit, but tell us more. Why should they do what you're
So,
suggesting of not using these platforms, and what should they do instead?
so again, and I want to be clear, I'm saying yes, use these platforms. I mean, Upwork and Fiverr are great. I'm saying don't use it for literally everything, right? Don't build a company with Upwork talent, right? Um, Build a company with talent in house, right? So maybe when you're growing, when you're starting out and you are on a budget, sure, take more risk and use Upwork and use Fiverr, fine, because you have no other choice. You need to take more risk or pay more money. That's fine. Uh, but the moment that you are growing and you have some extra cash, if you cannot get to the point that you want to hire in house, right? In those particular cases, what I want to tell everyone is like they're like other platforms. I mean, Upwork and Fiverr is not everything that is out there. There is Topsell. They're like other tools, right? And these are tools will give you much better experience aimed to those who want quality over speed and something like cheap. Okay, so I would say go for these platforms that have like better bet talent.
So I'm putting in here like basically when you're working for when you're focused on your core team, who are people you need to rely on a regular basis. Those are roles that you should stabilize and
Yeah,
invest more money with a better platform that is geared towards that. Is that right?
exactly. Yeah, you need like better. You need two things. You need talent that is more qualified, and someone needs to qualify them. If it's not you, it needs to be a platform that is in charge of that, right? And then that person, if it's your core talent, that person cannot be freelancing, right? If it's the best person in the world, right? But that person is freelancing, you are not his first priority. Or maybe you are,
Mm,
plus five other people as well, right? So that will go wrong. And the third thing is some of these platforms, not all of them, offer managed talent. And here's the key. What is managed talent? Well, someone like talking to them and saying, hey, how are we doing? Like project managing everything, right? So sometimes you have like a lot of things on your table, right? You cannot do everything. You need to talk to clients, you need to do billing, you need to do accounting, you need to go to the bank, you need to send an invoice, and you cannot check on where your talent is doing, right? So what you need to do is either like hire second talent or these platforms that offer managed talent that will be monitoring and supervising what your team is doing. And that's a better way to have top talent working.
why does it work better?
Because when you watch people, and that might sound odd, but when you are like actually making an organization, that's why project managers exist, right? That everyone is following up on someone else, right? On where your talent is at. Well, first of all, it's a more healthy uh, procedure, right? Than just like leaving people to figure everything on their own. So that's why it's important to have like SOPs. That's why it's important to have like a person monitoring someone else, because you need reports, because you need to have like clear deadlines. The less that you leave things to be on their own, the the more that you reduce the risk of failure. Okay, so of course, use tools to try to measure everything. Plus, if something goes wrong, here's the important thing: this is not bulletproof. But what happens here is, if something goes south, at least you will be able to tell in a week and not in a month, right? So you are
Mm,
able to readjust. And if you have like a big team, maybe you have like 50 people, you will know who is performing good, who needs to go, and who you needs to stay.
that's great. What kind of results do you think listeners should expect when they are switching from doing it the old standard, let's throw up a post on Upwork and see who applies, and work with a platform more like what you're suggesting?
First of all, if you're an agency, or even internally, but if you're an agency, to put this as an example, you will have happier clients that will pay more and will stay longer, right? Because this you will hit deadlines better, right? You will have much better customer service, and maybe we are afraid to actually charge them like $10 an hour more for a better service. But believe me, they will definitely pay $10 an hour more, right, for something better, and they will rather stay with you that they know you and they can trust that you can deliver something good than just like paying you cheap that doesn't work for you neither because you're not making enough money. And then they will be mad in a couple months because of course you couldn't hit the deadlines with some group of freelancers trying to work together.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. Why are people stuck in this way of doing it with just Upwork, and even if they've been failing multiple times and they just still keep going back to Upwork?
I would say some people just don't know that there are other things that exist. Number two, they think it is more expensive than it actually is, right? So they think like they're jumping from $20 an hour to $400 an hour, and that's not true unless that you hire an ex NASA engineer. But sure, you can do that if you want. But there is an in between, right? And if you, and people are not doing the math, because I'm sure like if you do the math and you think how much time, effort, and money takes you to redo work that some talent did wrong, and actually comparing that to talent that maybe is more expensive that was able to do this in 5 hours instead of 25 hours, right? If you do the math, you will see that it's even more efficient to have like talent slightly more expensive that can like get the job done than just like
let alone
cheap
the
talent
hairs and everything else. Okay,
exactly.
so I've got a couple quick ones that we're going to jam through before we have to wrap this up. So we're almost done with the planning. This is perfect, bro. You're killing it. For someone hearing about this for the first time, what do they do to take action?
First, you need to do, I mean, you need to turn around and look back and say, okay, hold on, what is my team? Is my team, because I mean, each situation is different, right? But let's say you are a company in the States, fine. Are you hiring mostly through these platforms? Do you have special needs now? Do you have like quick needs? I mean, is there something urgent or is there something important, right? First, you need to establish what is your situation, right? And then you need to think, what are my most important projects or clients? And test the waters there, right? Start with maybe one project where you would say, I'm not going to hire someone maybe in the office, but I'm also not going to hire someone for 10 an hour in Fiverr at work, and use that project as a pilot test.
That's great. That's awesome. We're going to stop here. This was fantastic, man. I can't wait to do this actual episode with you.
But let's see how it goes.